test roll with the light. Does it make my eyes look funky? Does it? Does it make my eyes look funky? Not so good with the glasses on though, is it? Okay then, today, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, we are talking about ADHD and productivity, why it comes in waves and how we use it. I'm going to tell you, I've got a really bad sore throat and I'm coughing a lot at the minute, so there's going to be a lot of jump cuts in this. So we've all been there. We know what productivity is like with ADHD. It's not just a straight line where you wake up in the morning with the same amount of energy and you can do the same amount of work each day like so many neurotypical people can. This is like being in a car crash for an entire day. You get thrown around left, right and centre. You can be super active in the morning, and by the time lunchtime comes around, you've got nothing left at all. You eat a bit of food because you remember to eat a bit of food, it livens you up, and off you go again. You can run around again and you can do what you need to do, but then all of a sudden you're back down again, and now you just feel like the entire world is gone, and you suddenly realise that you've only done 2 jobs. We all know the pattern. You get the washing done, you get the hoovering done, you do some more washing, then some food, you go shopping, and then all of a sudden, day after day after day, you're rolling fine, and then all of a sudden, bang, you collapse into a pile. There's nothing left. You've got no energy, you've got no drive, you feel flat, you're drained. You're one step short of clinically depressed with so little energy you can barely think. If this never happens to you, I take my hat off to you, and there's probably a good chance you don't actually have ADHD. This is now a known problem with ADHD, along with long-term burnout, which is kind of what I think I'm suffering from. It doesn't matter how much I sleep, how much I rest, I'm still exhausted all the time. More about that later. So this happens because ADHD brains have an inconsistent dopamine management system, and our executive function control is a bit messed up. So in case you didn't know, your executive function control, how do I explain this without going too technical? It controls planning, starting tasks, focusing attention, switching between tasks, controlling impulses, and managing working memory. What a surprise. What a surprise to all of us ADHD people that our executive control system is fucked up, especially when you think about what it does. Neurotypical people regulate those systems automatically. We do regulate them, but they normally need a bit of a push, yeah? So we rely on urgency and novelty and pressure or interest to switch those systems on. That's why some days you can do 20 tasks in the time it takes an NT person to do 1, and other days you can't do anything. If you pay attention, you'll notice your brain jumping from task to task based on interest or urgency. It's not based on importance. It's just more based on how you feel about the job than actually what needs to be done and what doesn't need to be done. It's hard for us to just do things, and I will personally vouch for, I find starting tasks incredibly difficult. I overestimate the amount of time and effort they're going to take to do, and I just stall and stall and stall until I can't stall it anymore. So I suffer from executive function disorder. I don't know how to explain it, but you know, like I said just now, planning, switching tasks, stuff like that drain us very quick. When you're trying to run a business, it can be difficult. You might want to keep going, but there's just nothing left in the tank. So for me, yesterday, I had a passenger in the van with me. I did 4 quotes to do with a job in the morning. So I've done an actual job in the morning. I've had 4 quotes to do, which means driving around between places. I've had all day with son number 2, left my house at about 9, got home at about 7:30, had a bath, tried to play a game, bang, I was asleep on the sofa. By 8 o'clock, I was fast asleep, and I slept. I don't sleep well, but I slept all the way through till my alarm went up, till about 7:30 this morning. So that's like, 11 hours of broken sleep, 3 or 4 hours at a time. So when I look back, it wasn't even a particularly hard day. It was just I had to make so many decisions, and I had to force myself to make so many decisions that it absolutely slaughtered me. That is executive function fatigue. I've had to make so many choices over the course of the day to keep the day flowing smoothly. I've had to talk to Tom the whole time. I mean, that's quite a pleasure anyway. I quite like talking with Tom. But over the course of the day, it just wears me down so that there's nothing left by the time I get home. When I had a woman living with me, I would come home and I would dread coming indoors because I knew I just had nothing left, and I barely even had the energy to walk in and smile and say, "Hello darling, it's nice to see you," and give her a cuddle. I just wanted to, just collapse and sleep. But for some reason I never did. I just used to keep ploughing through to her detriment. I would just ignore her normally and hide in the office and then go and sit on the sofa and watch TV and she wouldn't get a kiss hello or a cuddle hello. So it can be destructive to people around you as well. So with that in mind, let's move on to emotions and energy. Emotions is something I'm uncomfortable with, always have been. I was brought up in an environment where shut up crying or I'll give you something to cry for. So letting emotions out has always been incredibly difficult for me. I've actually started to do it now, sadly, since my wife left. My emotional states, and I think other ADHD people were like this as well, is pretty much like the British weather. One minute it's calm, lovely sunny day, and the next minute there's a thunderstorm, and then 5 minutes later it's snowing. Emotions can be really hard to deal with ADHD. They come on really hard and really fast, and a lot of the time keeping my emotions under control was and still is incredibly difficult, and cost me a lot of energy on a day-to-day basis. I've found talking to a therapist is beneficial because I'm dragging a lot of aggro from my childhood around with me, and I'm starting to learn how to sort of deal with these emotional problems on a day-to-day basis now. So without sounding too much like a child, for the first 53 years of my life, if I felt like crying, I just pushed it straight back down, because once again, I'll give you something to cry for. So crying was a dangerous thing to do. You get physically punished for it as a child. And in the last 3 or 4 months, I've actually started to let it out now. And initially it just came out as and that was it, done, because my brain just reacted to it so quickly. But over time, I've learned to cry for a longer period of time. And I'll be brutally honest with you, it doesn't ever make me feel any fucking better. I'm always been jealous of people that can cry and then they feel better afterwards, because I never do. So that's kind of like emotions with ADHD. They're like a storm. They come and go, they come and go, they come and go. There's not really much we can do about that apart from meditate and learn to keep yourself calm and flat. Make sure you sleep well, make sure you eat regularly, because that will amplify it massively. Above all else, try and understand that you are in control of your emotions. Don't let them control you. How do we deal with it? When we get a high energy wave, how do we deal with it? You need to use it while it's there. You do all the tasks. You do all the cleaning, you do the writing, you do the organising. But when there isn't any energy, don't force it. Find some way to recharge. I tend to play games, or I will look out the window into the forest out the back, the woodlands out the back, and watch the trees swaying in the wind. I find that quite calming. One of my favourite pastimes, one that really calms my mind down when I've got no energy, is to go to a cafe or a pub or something, sit outside and just watch all the people walking past. That's incredibly relaxing for me. It shuts my mind up completely. The most important bit though, be ready when the energy hits. When that energy comes back, be ready for it. Have a task list. I add estimated time to each task so my brain knows what it's in for. It tends to help sometimes it doesn't. I've written a piece of software that allows me to, from any platform, just dump a quick note in there. I try to dump all of my thoughts over the course of the day in there, then I can sort them out when I get home later. I also have a piece of journaling software that does exactly the same. I'm more than willing to open it up to you guys if you think it will help you. The worst thing you can do with energy is stand there trying to work out what to do, procrastination, whatever you want to call it. That's how the motivation dies. So when you feel the need to get up and go and do something, grab the first job on the list. If you can't do that one, or you don't want to do that one, move to the next one, and just get the fuck on with something. Just do something, and you will very slowly but surely start to learn how to use your high energy and deal with your low energy. Step 2 is for the lower energy days. If you're flat, you're stuck, you're unmotivated, get up and go for a short walk, just 10 minutes, just round the block. Just go and stand outside, talk to the neighbours, do whatever you can do. Movement will get you going, that gets your mind going. When you get back, do one of the small tasks off of your list. Just the one. If you finish that one task and you've still got some energy, do another one. Continue on like that, and eventually all of your tasks are done. For ADHD, motion, as far as I'm concerned, is where the motivation comes from. Motion breaks rumination. It breaks procrastination. It livens your mind and puts you in a situation where you can think and move and picture yourself doing things, which is another trick I use quite a lot. I actually picture myself doing something, and that helps substantially. Another issue that I thought I'd slot into this video is time blindness. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. I don't really struggle with time blindness too much. I do tend to overestimate how long tasks are going to take, but I'm not one of them people, those people that is late everywhere I go because I'm sitting poking at my phone. You know, if I'm going to poke at my phone for 5 minutes, I literally do it for 5 minutes and stop. Time blindness can be cured by using timers. We've all got timers. We've all got timers on our phones. So, you know, the definition of time blindness is difficulty sensing time passing, not really me. Difficulty estimating duration, that's me. And difficulty prioritizing future commitments. That's not too bad, but as I've shown you guys time and time again, I use Google Calendar and it is absolutely packed. I went to Barclays Bank with my son the other day to open a bank account. And when I showed the girl behind the counter that calendar, it absolutely scared the tits out of her. Because she was like, Jesus, that would overwhelm me so much. And I'm like, well, without the calendar, I don't function. So use a calendar. With ADHD, with me, with my life, the present moment is just dominant over everything else. I'll do it in 10 minutes. I'll do it in a week. Feel exactly the same. It's now that I care about, not tomorrow or the day after. It's right now. And I think that stems from the distraction part of ADHD, whereby I focus on doing what I can now, because if I don't do it now, I'll forget it. And it won't get done. You have to obey your calendar, yeah? And when an alarm goes off on your calendar, as one did earlier on in this video, that was to tell me to get up and do this video. When the alarm goes off, obey it, do it. Get up and move around the house a few times. Go out for a walk around the block and then come back and do the task. But whatever you do, if you're going to use a calendar, you've got to use it. You can't just put stuff in there and then ignore it. This is the last part of this video, and obviously the last part of a video in a series of 10. This is incredibly important. I am struggling with energy levels and life in general because of this. The core truth of ADHD and productivity is you will not fix it by brute forcing it. You will not fixing it by going, I'm going to muscle this, I'm going to attack it, I'm going to murder it, I'm going to get it. All you'll do is fuck yourself up. And that's where I am now. I've spent the last 2 decades working my ass off day after day after day. And so many days in a row, I get up and I'm exhausted. Just by the time I've woken up in the morning, I'm exhausted. I am now putting things in place to try and slow that down, slow my life down substantially, because honestly, I don't think I'm going to last another 10 years if I carry on like this. You've got to learn to understand your natural ebb and flow, work with it, not against it. Try and find yourself a way to earn money that doesn't rely on you getting up, driving the same route every day. You know, find yourself a way where you can earn money as and when you feel like it. I have just wound my business down back to just me. It was kind of something I've been wanting to do for the last year or two because I could feel how hard I've been struggling. It was difficult for me because obviously my son works, we work on the business together as a project, but Tom seemed okay with it. He was quite happy with the fact that there wasn't enough work really to keep paying him on. The company goes into a dip once a year and sometimes there's enough money to cover it. This year there wasn't, so we just had to go our separate ways. So he's going to trot off and be an HGV driver, which I'm pleased with because that's kind of something I always wanted to do, but I never really got around to it. So at this point, I can pick and choose to an extent what work I do and don't do. That allows me to work with my natural ebb and flow. I've laid out good direction on the calendar. So Monday and Tuesday are boarding jobs. They're the ones that take a lot of energy. Wednesday is quotes, so that's a day driving around. That's not too bad. Can be quite relaxing. Thursday is access jobs where I do doors and ladders and just, you know, simple jobs that I can do with my eyes closed. And the same on Friday morning. I'll do the access jobs on Friday morning. And looking at next week, it's a bank holiday Monday, so I'm going to a motorcycle show. Then there's a job on Monday, nothing on Wednesday, a job on Thursday. That's enough for that week. This is the last video, so I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to sit and watch through these. If you have, I've not even looked at the stats yet. It's taken me nearly 6 months to get these edited and posted. I'm getting into the flow of it now, so I can promise you this won't be the last video. I have dozens and dozens of other subjects to cover yet, and they will probably get better over time. That was my first real go at publishing a series of videos. Who knows, next week maybe you'll get number 11. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video and all the others. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to post.